What's up, guys? It's me, PARACONOMY INC. We're just chilling. I'm just looking. I'm just gonna try and chill with you guys. Friggin' got nowhere to be, nothing to do. Figure out this live stream. I don't do Twitch, so guess I'm here on YouTube. 6:55 p.m. 5/13/2025. I'm just using my astral projection now to stab people in the face, just to see if it's paranormal. And turns out it is. Very paranormal. But it's not real. It's just my imagination. So whatever. Yeah, this is part of me. Yeah, and I gotta take. I'm the only one who has to freaking live with me. Nobody else has to live with me. So that's kind of the cool part about this is like if you're still here on my telepathy, why are you still here? Did you guys curse yourselves? That's why my mom says don't just half-ass something, whole-ass something. Okay, my grandpa said that to my mom, and my mom says that to me. This is what a half-ass is. Cool. Go figure. Yeah, I've been doing things full-assed for a lot longer than anybody's ever been. Taking a chance to look and crack open a book, check out if I've actually think I know what I'm saying versus actually knowing what I'm saying. Yeah, and people, yeah, whatever. Mm, You guys are doing your thing. That's fine. Do your thing. Nobody cares. Nobody likes you. Christmas doesn't have to come with a fuzzy like kindness, right? Christmas is very forced, very often, right? It's not actually, and this is back to the whole lesson on gifting people the things you want them to articulate in the world and not telling them the price tag and what it took for you to get that. So, that's the next part here. If you're gonna give people things too, make sure those price tags are either there or not. Okay? If they're there and you want them to be there, make sure they're still there. If they're there and you don't want them to be there, you better make sure that thing is gone. Okay? You guys catch where I'm coming from? If you gift people something and it took some sacrifice, and you don't want them to have to take care of all the things that it took for you to get them that gift, but the unconditional support, what it means to have that gift, then you've completely lost the whole point of taking that price tag off. Okay. Fun thing about life, it keeps on moving without you. Okay. You'll die and life will continue on this planet. And that's Christmas. Look, Christmas is not always going to be, and here's the brass tacks. Christmas is not always going to be pleasant. And the years that it is, you should be grateful. Okay? If you thought some one person would make it more pleasant, that's on you. And you tried it. You got your answer. It is. Okay? Still the same in the sense. It's still pleasant. There's the same amount of things, and like I don't know what you guys want. You don't need me. You can still sell. It's a day. Look, the next thing. This is a day. Okay, it should be a whole. But we've co-opted it into a whole months long affair for a bunch of dumb reasons. Okay, you're smart enough to do something with risk for some, and you're doing it selflessly. Check that tag. Otherwise, if you're trying to impress them and guide them down some bullshit that you went, excuse my language, down, then it makes sense that you guys ended up rubbing it the wrong way on purpose and timed out. That's what you get. You owe me, is what that says. Okay, next part of that price tag says you owe me. All right. And if my mom thinks that giving gifts is conditional, then she completely lost what it was like to be my mom dozens of years ago. So, welcome to the bonding relationship of a trauma bonded mother and child who is a product of co parenting. Eat, be merry, live fresh. This is the most we can expect from Michigan from now on. And if Christmas ends up better than that, you're at least holding a bar on what it looks like to everybody else too. So little cynicism goes a long way. You want to control the future? Okay, that's a gift too. Okay. You better not complain when you get the results you get, right? Or else you seem ungrateful. That's exactly what they'll say. You seem ungrateful. We human traffic. We did all that and just to human traffic you and put you in the freaking gutter. And you're not grateful? This is what I grew up around, potentially. My mom sure as hell did a good job of hiding some of it from me, but there it is, plain as day. I don't need to learn the lesson from some southern hillbilly. I could definitely appreciate from my higher power. And that's kind of the gift of whatever my parents gift me at 12, and I was supposed to take with me into my 20s. And then along cascade it into my 30s. Then I've been fed it correctly as many times appropriately as possible for both the courts, the claimsmen, and the judges, and frickin' bail bondsmen that had come along with doing that. So if that's your crew, that's the whole tea. And if that's what you guys think is leisure, I'll let you do your leisure. To me, it's boring, but like I don't care. I'll do some stuff, and learn things. Learning's fine. Um, but like expecting is not gonna be the best thing to do every time, right? And that's something with gift giving. Don't expect gifts, right? You shouldn't expect anything. Let me put it this way. It's weird, but hey, For gifts, you shouldn't expect anything. And these things should be free for you to kind of over or underachieve wherever it is you're going to do. Yeah, I hit you with the brakes because look, it's March 13th. You're gonna be here like, well, I'm glad we made him homeless in the summer, and so you're gonna catch him, right? Big ugly farce that they're sowing in future faking. They're narcissists. They can't help it. Next thing, I'm gonna toot. Excuse me. Next thing, whew, next thing, these assholes want to pretend to sell me that and be like, "That's Christmas." Yeah, yep. So that's what we're here doing here. People would rather fart in front of me and fucking be like, "That's all I got to offer you. I'm so sorry." Yuck, 100% yuck. 707, it's the divine fart. Oh, I'm passing a stool. 707, 513, the gods and goddesses will remember me pleasantly. Eh, fuck, I inhaled it as a burger. Good. Gross. Don't kiss me or like come near me if you don't want to smell me here. I'll still stay pleasant. I just smoked my own fart on TV. Let's do this more often. Bitchin'. It makes my volley song skills way better. Check this out, man. But let's talk about gifts. They poured poor Charlie girl. I put a bunch of that of my mom onto Charlie. Cause guess what? Charlie knows my family. Ellis has come into her auto parts. Freaking Clausen, shout out Clausen racing downstairs. Freaking um yeah, they all know the clan down there in Arkansas. And Charlie's right down there. So like Charlie's getting stolen parts sometimes and reselling them. Because the clan kind of makes a lot of money off of engines, but like they kind of like still have problems, obviously. And that's kind of where there's a difference. Once you get problems settled, it's the South is pretty quaint and like nice and stuff, but like that's possibly what's going on. Things aren't settled. And, until they are, the South will be frickin' stirring a ruckus all over, making sure I get what's mine. Because that's just how it kind of is for them. They're not so fun. They are until they aren't. And that's possibly why people don't visit down there. People know why white people are undesirable. Let's put it this way. Once you become a poor white person, bless their hearts. This is why I now understand why my mom likes country music. Because it puts her thing here on poor whites. She's always preached to me about how the Ellises are poor whites. And that's like how we are supposed to accept the fate of our reality in life is that we gotta fight as poor whites. I don't care what's going on. You need to fight for this, kid, because we are poor whites. That's what my mom said, harping on it. Okay? That is what she said growing up. Those Alice's are poor whites. We come from poor whites. So, but it doesn't imply this part. So we gotta be rich whites. And that's kind of why that isn't that pleasant. Yeah, it's a southern hospitality to make you it's a lie. It's just it's half the truth. So that's the South. Unfortunately to me, it's just half the truth. So that should cost at least half of their income. If they've been harping on me over here about half the truth is real, then whatever the present is, what's half the reality is just knowing the presence for you, how you want it, or is it pressing forward on? Hey, this comes with some other responsibilities. You get a puppy, yeah, let's example it out. You get a puppy here, okay? That's a present for Christmas, a puppy, okay? You ever gotten a puppy for Christmas? Never on my birthday. It's always around my mom. So that's probably like why it's at some point I had to separate my mom from like me and my mom and being like going from and it happened early. And that's kind of where it gives my mom this little bit of like freedom and stuff like that outside of her social circle as well. And so that's kind of why I wonder how the school board didn't get the hey ho on approval on what it is I did without my mom being like, "Oh, well, he does this, but then there's one thing that I don't like, and it's about my mom." And it's because my mom's always been a glass ceiling, and I've never gotten to actually have this kind of type of tight relationship with my mom as an adult because she doesn't approve of me. She thinks I'm dirty, ugly, smelly, I dress bad. The only thing she gives a fuck about is that I look like a rich white person. Okay? Weird part about the future. That's all. We're from poor whites. So, if my mom didn't feed me the rest of that reality, then I became a poor white. And that's the whole truth of why I'm a poor Hawaiian. In the midst of all of this eviction notice, freaking soothsaying next to if I don't have a place to like actually articulate paint myself, how far will I know it went? So that's where I'm at right now. Life could get a lot worse. And because I'm slewing all my life stuff out onto the internet, but it's in a healthy way, but it's all on the internet now. It could get a lot of this stuff used against me, like the people and strangers who are surrounded by me, but it comes with some price tags, and one of those is a big one with aliens, and it's hard to explain because people think I sound crazy. But then again, I'm all alone, dude. So my mom has a hard time with that one because she always attributes it to marijuana and mushrooms and Rusty, and she can't get over how much she loves her older brother because once or twice he saved her ass from getting beat. And she turned to him and now wants to put that on me and wants to turn to me from helping her from getting beaten. And I have been, and this is probably I'm helping her from getting beaten on, and I'm ratting on her right now because she could go get spanked out after all this stuff coming out on why or why not I'm in a hard spot and it's ending up on somebody else's porch. So that's probably why I'm here to bring out all this evidence for everybody on YouTube for the past 3 years in order to create a company where people can speculate the truth because that's their favorite thing to do here. So, yes, I'm prying some of my audience against its own habitual self control. If this doesn't teach people self-control to the naughty and nice list, screw them. So that's kind of like that's where that kind of feels. It feels like that, and that's kind of why like I gotta fucking put them on the Ritz here. Excuse my language. I gotta put on airs here. But like that is probably half the reason we're stuck here is a lot of people. I kind of got lucky. Things are turbulent. You never know. I'm always, but hey, there's a little more going on. We've learned how to streamline luck. We can trap. I've been telling people we can travel through people's dreams, right? For the past 10 years. Been in and out of like dreams and stuff like that. And the psychedelics help you do that. So my family's like, they know, but they never talk to me about it because what happened. And I hit the far ends of psychedelia where you hit this spectrum of psychosis. And in these moments of psychosis, this is where I was contacted by outsiders from like different dimensions. Even I during these moments of I was the one clairvoyant thing that I have is this everything textured, and this is what sticks too. This is how you find out, and you can see this on people's faces without a whole lot. It's a magnitude of triggered dopamine and melatonin that can get triggered, and you can trigger it in people just simply by looking at them and welcoming them. So that's possibly why people didn't know I'm Hawaiian, um, and they don't care. So like, how are they supposed to know I'm welcoming them as like a Hawaiian too, without them like actually giving? So if and it's hard to give yourself an identity here, and this is why I'm understanding. I'm glad I did some research because this is hard to understand about creating a cultural identity. Because I'm from the Terrence McKenna thing here that culture is not your friend. And lo and behold, I'm like concurrently 7:17 p.m. somehow on time with talking about any of this relationship to the injustice of what's actually happening to people in our country today. So if that doesn't somehow reach the homes a little bit and start peeking on those lights about what's been going on across overseas and stuff like that for people, then we need to have some important conversations that we're closing the door on because we are not taking the time for people's energy. And 2020 shut the door on people in weird ways that unfortunately some things cannot be retraced. And this is the hard reality that talks that you can talk about, but people do not want to see success from their rivals. A hard gift to receive is that yes, you have to study and outperform people, okay? And this is how I flunked out of college. I'm like grasping at straws. I'm like, please help me graduate. Please help me, God. My professor gives me the flunk. He's like, so I'm like, oh, shoot, my whole entire life gonna change from here on out. And yeah, again, here I am. Hey, every day now from the past over the past several decades have had several moments of needing to address the falterhoods of the bellows of what's possible in my family and how I'm actually echoing back. So, look, the folds, read the details. It's always in the skincare routines and things like that. People can tell their deaths through their crow's feet, things like that. Okay? It's a huge part about people's like access to like magic. Okay? And it's a big part of why I needed to freaking spellbind it anyways. And I was just looking for a good community with good people. But now I'm understanding that is it's as very like empathetic and empty as I want to be and keep this thing. It comes with a little bit of falter here, dude. Um, I don't even want to talk about it. So like that's kind of like the hard part is like there are things like that in conversation have oof, okay. And like you could have better boundaries too if you were allowed to access things professionally in the right ways where people don't aren't afraid of the way you're gonna feel. And if they don't actually address them with themselves, there's no way they're gonna talk to you. So that's like half the reason why I'm here. And I'm broke, I'm poor, I'm looking interested for all sorts of other things so I can catch the right things and just walk towards it. People don't strive for perfection anymore. And where they do, it's like this. And that's kind of like why if people have been busy doing this, this is this makes sense. But like also it's not routine. And that's kind of where you pick up, dude. Everybody's at different places. So if you're looking at trying to figure out and fixture a permanent decision over somebody's life and it's no connection, then you gotta look at whatever the hell it is, and whatever the hell it isn't is because I can guarantee that some of those cowboy moments that I've had to live weren't just given to me by life, and that people may be in and out, and it goes to this whole thing. I don't get to hide from the world simply because like I have some privilege to exist in it, and in fact, people will want to now I know people will want to purposely just look at you funny in order to see if they can beat you. And that's like a huge part of existing, like creating any of it, right? There's holes in it, yeah. But look, you do the actions and they show up. Those things are consistent enough, people know what's going on. And if you have the king in the game, dude, you friggin' checkmate, game set. And that's kind of where you might have a difference in how you that's the cool part of chess. It's like, look, you play the game, right? And that decides how things go for you. So when I went with culture is not your friend, dude, it is not. And so, I've learned to blend in. But that makes me look less special and I get thrown away. So just be careful, guys. The gifts are important, in that sense. And if you're just, oh, everybody a PS2 this year. Okay, well, get a PS2 too. And it's weird. Having money is a lot like being homeless, but there's some dumb privilege that's coming with that in this country, and there's plenty to like help people build their way into that. But if you're gonna look at holding the bar on things just because you're picky, then it makes people kind of have to press in here. They may or may not be jealous or evil. Okay, it's you want to build trust, right? And it's cool to put yourself out there a little bit, but like you're sending a signal and a light flashes, other humans are going to see that. And not everybody, you can't trust everybody at every time. And that's kind of one big reason why I can I can I make myself available for people. I'm very very Jesus-y here because I like make myself available for people and first one's free, right? Um, you want to talk to me on even kind of here, and like we get to know each other, we're doing business, whatever it is. It should have this, and people have learned to settle their differences too. And humanity's still learning how to do that. But when you don't make a big deal when you make the purchase, right? When business is done and the day's done, you squeeze away with what it is that you settled on. And most people, it gets people. where they need to be. They feel satisfied that with what they've applied and how they can apply it backwards, because that can't be done. You can't undo that. Said that funny. You can't undo any of that though. That can't be undone. And like that's kind that cannot be undone. But you guys get what I'm saying. It feels permanent when business is gonna be like kind of um you know, so like how do you give yourself this part in conversation where you wait for people to actually sit with what it is they're trying to articulate to here? Just give it a moment. If there's weight and people have been waiting, and again, as people are waiting for something heavy, but they're giving them something light, it's insulting you were setting your expectations up for gift giving. 727. Look, you want your gifts back the right way? You're gonna have to settle the in between here because that if that gift is permanent, look, back to the gifts. You want those things without the price tag because you don't want them to know the sacrifice you went out. And then that's why it's a simple way to teach people if you get them the PS2. Look, it's not bad if you get them the PS2, but it's no like Noah's Ark. I gave you the freaking. So like that's kind of what's happening here. People are they're hiding Noah's Ark in the PS2 basically. And that's where people are like, well, you got to learn the same way everybody else does. But shh, this one has actually I'm doing something for you here so you can have that besides just the price tag. There's some other things that are coming along with that. So do some good things here. Once this happens, we'll be fine, and it's fine, then you've done what's good. But if we're not fine, then you aren't consistent, and somebody else needs to pay for that in that sense. And it shouldn't just be on the person you give that gift to, even though you love that person. If they don't know, you need to teach them. And that's possibly what's happening here. People in America are expecting things, and there's a lot of willingness and love behind things that are people are trying to give. And there may be some misunderstandings after those gifts are given, and like that could take some learning. And if you have to learn and take time to learn how to utilize. So if I'm teaching you guys evil because it's a privilege and you guys then hey, then guess what? Next part, you have to sit with how evil that thing's gonna feel. Okay? And if that's a huge part of like where we're at with like non-humans and like other paranormal things, then it makes sense that like of course knowledge is power. This book's go check out friggin' To the Stars. These books full of this one. Oh, this one's full of evil. Boss over here next to the Bible. And like that stuff's wiggy. Okay. So that's kind of one thing. And it's like, look, we can give you what we can give you, but we can't hide the prize forever because that's not all. That should get you to the prize in life, and that's having it all taken care of and all figured out as you're supposed to here, especially for when you get personal and you're like, hey, it's in the family. Uh, and that's kind of where you can look at, why you might want to build relationships and not subtract from them because it's convenient. And it's unfortunately, it's the cabal of how it all spins. And it's really spinning here on the yin and yang. And if people haven't gotten that figured out yet, they probably should take a second to find themselves before they go get more because mistakes can be made and permanent things can happen. A huge part of how it is when you're sinking. And people are sinking all around me, which I can only save so many people. As a shaman, as a lifeguard, look, you have to do a little bit of the swimming here. I can't do everything. But like we get you to back to shore, you just stay safe. If I have to do it again and it kills me, look, get real old school here. If a Hawaiian had to go save somebody like multiple times, they'd like kick their ass after the first couple times because they'd be like, "You made me do that again." So like eh, that's all you gotta. It's simple. People are smart, and they know what they're doing. They'll tell you that, and they'll let you know. So when they tell you that, trust it because that's part of their gift. Okay, price tag or not.